All right, so we have season 2, episode 4, entitled Day 1, and this episode started off really interesting. Like I was actually just talking to Danny right before you popped into the room for this. It was interesting seeing Josh Peck open the show because at first, because of like how abrupt like the show can open sometimes, I thought that I was watching like a preview for a show that he was in or something. So I was just like, "Oh fuck, Josh Peck,
Bro,
nice."
I felt the same way.
But then I noticed the fucking the Fedra logo on his jacket. I'm like, wait a fucking second. It took like a couple seconds to click. I'm like, wait a second. Josh Peck is in The Last of Us. That was a nice surprise. That was a really, really nice surprise.
It was kind of weird hearing somebody from like Nickelodeon talk about fucking like cum shots and stuff like that.
Yeah. Dude, that's what it was for me. Like, obviously, I've heard Josh
Way
Peck.
to ruin my childhood.
I've heard him as an adult. I've heard him curse, just never that much. So it's like my ears were like, "Who? What?
Like, who are
Why
you?
is he saying fuck so
Bro,
many
there's
times?"
this movie. Ben probably knows what the name of it. I can't remember it.
Drobit Taylor?
But no, Josh Peck was in a movie, and this was either right before they did Drake and Josh or a little bit afterwards. He was a young kid, and he was swearing like a fucking. I can't remember the name of the movie, but
I
so
don't
I
know
mean,
it.
I have heard Josh Peck cuss like a sailor. So hearing
This
him in
It's
was
there,
always
just
going to be weird
like
for me
whatever.
hearing a childhood idol like that curse.
Yeah, I remember seeing Drake Bell in that superhero movie that was like the same director
yeah.
as Scary Movie, and he said bitches for the first time, and it just felt so weird because it also sounded very forced because he was still very much a part of Drake and Josh at that point. So I was kind of like weirded out by that, but yeah, there was a lot of profanity flying out his mouth in this episode. That was kind of like, whoa.
Like hearing Josh in this episode, like, could you imagine on Drake and Josh if they had a scene to where fucking like Drake is pissing Josh off and Josh's like, I'm gonna go jizz on your pillow, like
that would be definitely a like that's not necessarily impossible, especially since iCarly got a revival and it's definitely like a more adult toned. But I love that it still has those remnants of iCarly. But what I love even more about the iCarly adult show is it was made for fans of iCarly at the time, not the new fucking fans that are discovering it. And I love that aspect. So if they did it for Drake and Josh and they went that direction, I would 100% watch it. Yeah, 100%.
I think they'd break the fourth wall with an adult Drake and Josh.
Maybe like I could kind of see
Josh
it.
Make a joke about not being invited to his wedding.
Make a whole fucking episode about it, dude. I'd be so down. I'd be so down.
I know they made up recently. Like they, I think Drake did Josh's podcast and stuff like that.
He did.
So they're on really good terms
that.
now. So it's a possibility, man. But let's get back into the episode.
Absolutely. So you know who I was actually really ecstatic to see, and then comes to find out he's playing the same character that he played in the game. Jeffrey Wright, dude. He's an A-list actor. I think Oscar nominated. I'm unsure. And this is going to sound really bad because usually I do know the answer to this. I'm unsure if he's an Oscar winner, but I do know he was nominated, especially recently. So that automatically is a big dub. Having somebody back to reprise their role from the game is so crucial when you do it the right way. Like Marlene, for example, beautiful. Like it was a good translation. Nico, were you able to play part 2 before this by any chance?
No, I have not touched it. I mean, I've seen some clips of the game, but I have not touched the game.
So what I understand is that he's playing like the leader of the wolves per se, because this episode was diving into like their whole origin, it felt like, and their whole lore and like their purpose, and like it's like I was kind of surprised to see 11 years later. I didn't know it was going to be like a flashback scene. But I kind of want to talk about him a little bit. He is ruthless and has clearly seen shit before everything went down, because like think about it, it was 2018 when all of this went down. So what, we were 15 years into like the new world, like the apocalypse. So what got me curious about his character was like, after like Josh Peck was telling those stories about like all the things that they did and like, this the profanity and all that shit. You had this naive kid. I forget what his name was on the show, but you had this like he was clearly new to Fedra, and like
he was asking like why they were called voters or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. And immediately, Jeffrey Wright, like chillingly, like his dialogue delivery is so good, which is why honestly I was so hyped when he was casted as Jim Gordon in Batman. His dialogue delivery is so bone chilling because whenever he's on screen and he's delivering monologue like dialogue, he almost puts you in that time that he's talking about. Like you almost feel like you're in that story and in that a part of that whole thing that he's going with. So him being like, yeah, the Fedra took all their rights, stripped everything, away from them. So that's why, they just call them voters,
And
and they
even the
arrived.
way he told it,
Yeah,
like
it was
his
just
eyes cast down while he was saying it. Like you could see there was some regret in that man's eyes.
mm-hmm.
Which,
Yep.
as an actor, like, bravo, dude. Like I could see it. I felt it.
I forgot. I think I actually had this discussion with Ray. We were talking about actors and stuff, and like I said, that there was like two different kinds of actors that know how to cry. There's some that can do the facial like act of crying, but need to have like drops put in. But there's other people that can tap into certain traumatic points in their life, can tap into what they were feeling during that time, and almost kind of relive those moments at the snap of a fingers. That separates the actor from like almost a thespian. Like it's almost otherworldly how well people can control their emotions and like really open the floodgates, because it's so fucking hard to do. So seeing Jeffrey Wright tap into his character of Isaac and like almost like he believed he did those things. Like you can like there's no doubt in your mind that this dude is capable of so much more and has seen parts of things that these soldiers are making a joke out of, that he thought were fucking violent, heinous things that you could possibly do to somebody, and this is a fucking joke. So what made his character, because I don't know anything about the games really either, other than like walkthroughs,
Same.
certain clips, same along with Danny. So like it's a very interesting side to talk about, certain scenes with material that was already done before, and seeing the moment where it all flipped for me, where I'm just like, oh shit, was when he pulled the new guy out and he was like, come with me, you can learn something. And he went over, asked what the chick's name was, like, are you X, Y, and Z? And she just said, yeah. And then he was like, okay. And then just turned around and just casually popped 2 grenades, threw them in the tank, and just closed it and locked it. I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Because that is how you open an episode. That is how you compel somebody to a character, because it's like, dude, fucking why? Like Fedra in season 1 almost seemed like the good guys. Like they almost seemed like, oh, they're behind walls, it's a working foundation, they have a system going. Joel obviously was in very dangerous territory mentally there, but it looked like a functioning society. In season 2, we're starting to see people get tired of the things that go on behind the scenes that normal folk and citizens don't see. So it almost kind of reminds me of the CRM from The Walking Dead in a way. So seeing him turn on an entire, militia of soldiers, and having this new guy just witness it, and just he turns around, shakes her hand, and then just looks at the kid who's pointing a gun at him now, because he doesn't know what the fuck to do. Like he's talking to these soldiers, having what he thinks is a good time at first. He thought he was learning things, and then in a split second, he's kind of in a unique situation where he's automatically thrown to like, now you got to pick a side. Like you're either gonna drop here, because even if you have a gun, you're gonna get gunned down. Like you're gonna die, or you can choose the right side. So seeing that same kid 10 years later, after during that interrogation, I'm sure we're going to be getting to here in a little bit, of that just almost hollow shell of what he used to be, being like, fucking Scar, got what he deserved, was like fucking animal. And I'm just like, dude, he became everything Isaac is in just an 11-year span. So it's like, what have you seen? What have you done? Like, who have you had to put down that may have mattered to you? Because his eyes were so dead. Like they were just dead. Like
Blank.
he is living for this now.
Yeah.
But Then we get the fast forward to what's going on with Ellie and Dina, and like where they are in their travels, and from we're getting them going in deeper into Seattle. Like they're stumbling around this more like kind of wasteland, where they're seeing all of these dead Fedra soldiers, and they're seeing like a tank up close for the first time, and almost alerts a whole fucking horde of people by slamming the cover.
That was the people Isaac blew up. I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't say that they're the people he blew up, but I'm certain. Like, all right, what's your theories about it?
Well, they
because
weren't
I'm genuinely curious.
It definitely wasn't the people Isaac blew up because they weren't in a tank when he did it. They were in like a combat cargo carrier,
like almost like
back
a Humvee.
doors. Yeah, like a Humvee. They weren't in a tank.
It makes me wonder though if those people, because it said because Ellie said something that interested me, especially after like everything that with Isaac went down. I'm not entirely sure if this was post interrogation scene, because like the episode is still kind of like a blur to me. I don't know if it was like still post interrogation or not, but Ellie said something that stuck with me a little. She said, yeah, they looked like that they were like killing each other. So
yeah, that was before interrogation.
It makes me wonder if those people that were fighting each other, if some of them were Isaac's men that were going to turn and that had to like kind of still play the part, and then they went down. I wonder if we're going to touch back on that.
My entire thing when it comes to like the character of Isaac, whatever, he just sort of seems like he's doing this out of necessity. He's not doing this because he wants to. You know what I mean? Like, he blew up the rest of his men or whatever in that Humvee or whatever, and they were the ones that were making jokes of what they've been doing and taking away people's rights and stuff like that. And the one guy that he took out of there to pretty much save, because he knew what he was going to do, is the one that like what didn't really seem like he had much involvement. You know what I mean? So Isaac just, to me, it felt like he was doing this because he had to, not because he wanted to.
I think
he knew how dangerous
that's
his men were, and they're the one, and that's why he blew them up.
I took the scene a little bit differently, actually. I kind of felt like just the limited dialogue that he had in the van and the way that he explained the voter situation and how he made all his men sit down, even though he was going to turn on them. Just the words that he used, right? Like, if we all go out there strapped, it's going to end the way it always ends, right? Mm-hmm. Which I took that to be like, we're going to kill these motherfuckers and we're going to move on.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he did it because he had some genuine regret for his actions, and he thought that maybe partnering up with these folks would lead to better, maybe not peace because they're in an apocalypse, but less death than staying with Fedra and going place to place and just getting into conflicts and killing people that otherwise would have probably just kept living.
Yeah. And that pretty much speaks for like, the scene that we saw, the interrogation scene in this episode, because he was trying to get information out of this guy, because this guy and his men were killing other people, whatever. And he wanted to figure out where they were going next. You know what I mean? So you can definitely tell there's a lot of regret within him.
Yeah.
See,
such a complex scene.
That's where I took the all right, I'll talk about the interrogation scene, because honestly, like that was one of the most violent scenes I think I've seen. Like, emotionally and almost kind of like mentally, like it kind of fucked me up a little bit more than the usual sense, because again, I want to go back to Jeffrey Wright's acting and his dialogue, because the way, because at first I thought he was just cooking something, like they really misdirected you, dude. Like it just showed like what he's up to today, like like, oh, is he just cooking something? And he like lights the pan and like I'm like, okay, Isaac's cooking, because it was quiet, and he starts talking and he's like, I always told myself I was gonna have one of these pans. I forgot what they're called, but he's like, French. You never afford them though. Yeah, he's like, you never afford them though. But I told myself one day I would. Did not expect the way I was going to. And then was like, oh, he's going into like the specs of the fucking pans. Like, oh yeah, they burn so well. They don't like they hold temperature not as well as like cast iron, but the hand stays cool. He's like, but the fucking pan is hot as shit. And then he's like, and then it goes over to the Seraphite. I'm like, oh fuck, dude. Like,
Yeah.
his interrogation tactics and just his dialogue delivery is so good because, dude, I was terrified of Isaac in that scene at that point. Once it showed the Seraphite just beating the fuck up, and then he's just standing over them with this hot ass pan. And when the Seraphite refuses to give information, is giving him the whole like, you know, cultish like speech, I guess. He didn't hesitate to burn his hand. He's like, hold out your hand, and just boom. I'm like, oh.
Bro, shout out to him, man. That dude's a phenomenal actor too.
Yeah.
Dude, it caught me so off guard, that whole scene, because of what came before it, right? Like, we had this nice, heartwarming moment where Ellie is finally having a good memory of Joel, right?
The
Because
music
2
shop.
episodes ago, she was fucking screaming her head off every time she, you know, just saw him dying.
Yeah.
And we have this beautiful scene where they pan to the guitar after they just talked about Joel teaching her how to play. And then, boom, Isaac is talking. I did not expect any of that.
Taking a pause off of the interrogation, we're going to go to that scene now because, dude, I like Ash can confirm it too. They brought obviously the horse into a hole in the wall that it could fit into, you know, so they could stay there because they needed to go at night because, you know, they realized that the whole place that they're trying to go to is on a hill. They could see him coming. They're out in broad daylight. So they go to this place that ends up being a music store.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're going through, the horse is fine. You know, Dina's looking around in the records. Ellie makes her way upstairs and sees, you know, the spot from the games where she's sitting on it and, you know, she's like playing the guitar and shit. And it's almost picture perfect. And she finds this guitar case and she's like, please. And I'm assuming that guitar case, not only is it new, but it's worn out. She's hoping that nothing happens to the guitar on the inside of it. She opens it up. The fucking thing is brand spanking new. And it must be sitting there for what, 25 years at this point because it's 2029. And it's brand new though, like the little I don't know if they're like pads or something that helps like keep like the humidity in or something or out, like it just keeps it new, I guess. And she sees this new guitar and it's just like blown away because she has never seen anything that's brand new before. Like everything's either been like worn out, newly manufactured out of recycled things, so it's always gonna have a stain or something. She's never seen anything brand new. So not only is like, holy shit, this is fucking new, but what the item is so intertwined with her soul at this point, and even for like the tragic reasons. So like this one little thing brought her back to, you know, a moment of happiness that not only has ailed her heavily in the last few months, but hellaciously in the last few years, you know, because we got a time jump from the last season to now. I think it's been like, what, 5 years or something like that?
5 years, yep.
And, you know, to get that moment of just genuine happiness, like Dina's like looking through the collections, and then she hears the guitar tuning. Dude, the moment she started singing that song, I started fucking crying. I was not expecting to just cry as much as I did, and I cried through the whole fucking scene. Like, I just cried, and just I couldn't stop crying. And mind you, that song is one of my favorite songs of all time. Just in general, I don't have any like emotional ties to it or anything. But recently, I discovered like a stripped version of that song that sounds almost precisely the same as the way that Bella Ramsey sang it. And it just like hit that those heart chords where Dina and Ellie Dina was kind of approaching Ellie as she was playing the song and told her to keep going, and then sat down and just listened to her, dude. That was probably one of the most emotionally captivating scenes I've ever seen in television.
Bella Ramsey, like with every single episode, she just keeps impressing me more and more. You know what I mean? Because you have to have like a lot of emotion in your acting, like especially being in like a series like this. You know, bringing out like the hard edge or whatever, but also the human side at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, getting sick and tired of seeing all these Last of Us haters posting these potato memes talking about Bella Ramsey. Like, dude, even if she doesn't look like Ellie, she's fucking killing it. You can't deny it.
I'm pretty sure Ben was like that at the beginning of the first season or whatever.
I was.
Oh, I was too. I didn't really like her, but you know, gave her a chance and like,
yeah,
I can't deny that their talent is off the fucking charts. Like,
Yeah.
if you played the episodes and you blindfolded me, I would have no issue, zero.
Yeah.
Because of how good of a job she's done,
dude.
And
Like,
I mean,
continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
no, I was just gonna say, like, now that I have seen her and she has proven herself capable of portraying this character in a way that I feel is done right, there's not really anything negative to say. You know, I can't. I don't understand the potato memes. You know,
I
Just a bunch
don't
of fucking
either.
haters.
See, I understand the whole like people are so, like bent over the way she looks. It's like, dude,
She's a
there
phenomenal
is
fucking actress.
there is nobody else that could have portrayed Ellie the way she is, and just her mannerisms, the way that she carries herself on the show, her line deliveries. Dude, Bella Ramsey's British accent is so fucking thick. So the fact that she even does that flawlessly alone and can sing in that accent is one of the hardest things to do. Especially since I was actually just playing Cards Against Humanity with the Discord last night, and one of my friends is British as fuck. Like, I'm talking, can't even really pronounce her T's like that. Went off on like an MTV, like, "Hi, my name is Kendra." Dude, it fucking threw me off so bad. And I'm just like, dude, holy fuck. Like, it really does make you a completely different person. Like, I'm like, dude, you could literally just do anything heinous and just blame it on Kendra. Like, 100%. Like, that is what Bella Ramsey did with her accent. But to be able to do that and then also have those mannerisms, have that execution every single fucking time is incredible. Like, I'll never understand why people are still like, again, on the hating train, because
They just like to hate. They need something to hate.
every episode she gets better and better, and she does something more to impress me. And I showed Danny in the last episode of the podcast, like, I can't wait for like the heavy like fighting scenes to go down, because dude, she's training on some John Wick level shit. I don't know if you saw it, but dude, like, she's doing like takedown, she's doing center lock axis, she's fucking shooting us, she's like moving back. It's wild, bro. And she's performing all of these stunts herself.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking forward to seeing where she goes. And I mentioned it the last time we did the show too. Like, it's very obvious that she's well researched in her character. Like, she's done the legwork, and it shows. Every episode is just something else to like about her and how she's portraying Ellie.
At first, and even this season, like, I think it was episode 1. I even said it. I'm like, we know Joel's death is coming. We know how hard that is going to be for the fan base of the games that, played the games. But it's also going to be harder on the people that didn't, because they're not expecting them. Like, oh, did they just fucking kill off their main character? Yes, they did. And at first, where I thought Bella Ramsey was fucking, yeah, dude. Directly from Ronaldo. Yeah, dude.
Bro, I'm still not over the whole Joel thing, man. Like,
that ain't
it's
even fucking
weird.
Pedro. That's Ronaldo, bro.
It's kind of like what Nico was saying. I think it was before we started recording today. Like, like one of his favorite characters in one of the games or whatever died, and he fucking stopped playing for like 2 days. It's weird how somebody, a fictional character, or somebody that you've never met, has like an emotional impact on you as a person. You know what I mean? And it's almost like losing a family member in a way. Because we love these characters.
Yeah.
It was harder to watch because it was fucking Pedro Pascal having this happen to him too. So I'm just like, dude,
it was
like
Daddy.
Bob Ross. It was Bob Ross of this generation getting fucking caved in and his kneecap blown the fuck off right on screen, dude. That's hard as fuck to watch, man.
Do you know what else too? Is the actor who plays Abby posted like a selfie of her and Pedro.
Yeah.
And Pedro commented saying, "Oh, thanks, scene mate." And I was like, "No, fuck that chick. Fuck her. She killed Pedro.
Dude.
Fuck her."
And he's like, and he's posting on his Instagram. He's like, "Thanks so much for delivering such a great scene, you little miracle." I'm like, little miracle? What the fuck you mean? She took away all your hopes and dreams. Fuck her.
She's enemy 1 now.
I'm kind of curious, and I wish I could find this information, but I'm curious how many death threats, like legitimate death threats, she's gotten. Because there's people that like don't look at it as just like a television show. You know what I mean?
People forget
Hopefully
to blur the
0, but
lines.
probably a sizable amount.
Oh yeah,
I do
very
not want to see
sizable.
your fucking Twitter DMs.
I do not want to see your Twitter DMs.
I don't want to be a
but
fly on that wall for sure.
nah, man. I will say though, like it has to be so hard for like the people that didn't see the games, to experience this because it's like
My
I
girlfriend
was
was a wreck,
worried.
bro.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine, especially when you don't know and like you're trying not to be that guy to warn them, but it's like I will ruin this for you if you can't experience this fully.
Dude, I was so good. She asked me questions and I just sat there silently. I did not say
I
a
was
fucking
like,
word.
I told you, bitch, I am deaf during these.
Yep.
I'm deaf during these. I'm deaf. I'm you. I'm basically fucking Helen Keller.
Dude,
Like,
since
do not talk to me.
since episode 1, she was like, when Ellie and Joel were kind of distant, she was like, don't tell me they're gonna kill Joel. And I was like, I don't know. You just have to watch and see. You have to watch and see, babe. I don't know. Then they kept
Yeah,
arguing, and then they had that scene in the little party thing where she was kissing and Joel pushed that old guy, and she's
Spence.
like,
Yeah.
they're gonna kill
Yeah.
him. Like, I don't know, babe.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
But she took it
but
hard.
but yeah, like I was so worried on where we were gonna be, after Pedro Pascal's departure. Well, it's not even departure because we are getting flashback scenes that we still haven't seen from the trailer. I was worried. Up on episode 4 now, I'm not fucking worried about this series. It's not gonna do horrible at all. Like I think after this episode, like I was convinced last episode, but it just kind of solidified it for me that Bella Ramsey's gonna be able to carry the show, man. Like she's gonna 100%. And like I could be very like, out my ass about it and I could be saying this too soon, but I genuinely believe that she could carry this. And it's a monster franchise. That is a lot of stress. That is a huge weight on your shoulders and a massive set of shoes to fill, as a leading role now. They even took Pedro out of the fucking intro.
Yeah.
They took him out of the intro. So I think we're in good hands. I think we're in really good hands here.
I want to talk about the
I want to be
television.
optimistic.
I want to talk about the television news station scene.
Okay. Then take us away.
When Dina and Ellie walked into all the hanging bodies,
Oh my
hanging
God.
around the television station,
Right out of the game.
Whoops.
and apparently those were all legitimate like stunt actors. Like they were all 100% real. Whatever.
I broke my rule and I finally watched the making of. Yeah.
Bro, I love that stuff because you may be watching the episode of or something, and like you have like a certain interpretation of like maybe one scene or whatever, and then like the actual writer and producer like actually explains how it was made and like what went into it. You know what I mean? I love watching the making of.
So that was so fucking cool. But as an actor, I would genuinely, I feel like if there's any part of like any kind of short film, Hollywood film, you name it, that if you put me in those shoes and I had to walk in and discover this, I would not have to act of my fear because that is genuinely horrifying to discover.
Yeah.
That is horrifying. So seeing real people hanging from these rafters with their guts split open and just hanging there, and you see fucking I feel her love or something like that on the wall written in their blood. Like that is a terrifying thing to just stumble on. So like whether or not, we get the big reveal that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit, from Dina puking, I would probably actually puke if I stumbled across that because that is a very grotesque fucking scene to discover
Bro,
out of
I
nowhere.
got nervous as fuck when they stumbled across the woman that was leaning up against the box or whatever, and they got the walkie-talkie, and they were both like, they called for backup, and then they were like, hide, and then you heard the troops swarming in or whatever, and just knowing that Ellie and Dina were like 2 centimeters away from like potentially getting caught. You know what I mean? Hiding behind boxes or whatever. Ellie ended up stumbling across like upstairs. Dina was like hiding like inside some kind of like crate or something like that. And then that ended up leading to I feel like the biggest scene of this episode, which was the underground transit tunnel.
Yeah. I was like, when I first seen them in that television room, and then they got the backup call or whatever, like immediately my brain's like, oh my, well, this is not a big deal. Just tell them that you're not these people, you know? But then the guys are like, it doesn't matter. Woman, baby, fucking kill them. Look what they did. And I'm like, well, that plan's out of the fuck, because I never seen the game. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
because like
that
they
plan's
weren't
out the fucking
there,
window.
so you see all your guys hanging or whatever, and you see these two, like you just automatically assume, hey, you're responsible for this.
And the
anyone
worst
that's
part,
here that ain't us is hostile. You know,
and it's the worst part about it is like, even if they could talk their way out of that, Ellie is still who Ellie is, and they'll fucking recognize her if Abby is any way involved with this. She's in Seattle somewhere, like we haven't seen her in a couple episodes, but she's there. So it's like, if you could talk your way out of this, they're not just gonna let you go. Like, you're gonna end up in their facility. You're gonna have to go in for questioning. You're gonna have to be like, oh well, why are you here if you're all the way from fucking Wyoming? You don't just trek 1,000 miles all the way west through treacherous fucking shit in danger just to end up in Seattle. What are you doing? Fucking sightseeing? Like, no, they're not gonna just let you go, bro. Like,
and if they brought her before Abby more than anybody would know exactly what the fuck she's doing, because she just did it.
I love the fact that I kind of love the fact that we haven't seen Abby since the whole Joel incident or whatever.
Same.
And it's almost like sort of like, like she's like the final boss in a way, and like
she is,
like she's like sort of like hidden away. You know what I mean? Have all these. I like that. It just adds a lot of elements to the
lot of suspense.
Whatever.
There was so much stress and tension built in this episode that I thought like I could feel like my heart skipping a beat a couple of times, because like I didn't know how it was gonna end out. Like, it was just like, obviously finding out, in the making of the episode, it was basically directly out of the game. But it was stressful. Like, it was all based on luck getting out of that little like TV station facility, because like they acted as fucking fast as they could. I liked that we saw a little bit of a hint of like, Ellie's brutality that's going to be coming later on in the season, when she
Ellie
starts
jumped
hunting
on
everybody
dude,
down,
stabbed him in the neck, and then they
and like
fucking
slit
went through
his
the
throat.
window. I was like, "Fuck yes, bitch!"
Yeah, dude, I fucking marked out, bro. Like, it was such a good, honestly, action scene, and then the whole chase trying to get all the way to like somewhere they could hide. Like, at first I'm like, dude, just hide in the dumpster, but then again I'm like, that's right there. They're gonna check everything. Like, they know this area. They're from here, so they know what's blocked off.
And then if they're just hiding in a dumpster, all they gotta do is lift the lid, pop.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. So but then I was like, as the run was going, then they opened the door and it was like barricaded off and they could crawl through. That's when it even picked up more, bro. When they're like, all right, surround like the south exit or something like that, and right as they think, oh, we're fucked, we're not getting anywhere.
My claustrophobia was fucked with me during that scene,
dude.
Yeah, for real. When they were climbing out of that tunnel, I was like, dude, I could not. I would just be like, fuck it, I'm taking the bullet.
Yeah, I'm gonna bite the bullet, dude. Literally, fuck it.
My revenge tour ends here. Just hit me in the head. I'm good.
Let me meet Joel.
I'm ready to reunite with Daddy Joel.
We get party with Jesus,
dude. So the scene I want to talk about, and this is something that I love. I don't know if they did it in the game. I think they might have, but it was. I actually mentioned it to Ash in real time while we were watching the episode, and I was like, I love Dina's almost like superpower when they were like behind that like little thing, and like the guards were starting to come in and surround them. They were coming through like the little tunnel, and they thought they were fucked because there was literally nowhere they could go without being seen. And like they're like, this might be it. And Dina and the soldiers hear a clicker, and then she just has her eyes closed and she's like pointing out how many she can hear, and then like they were getting louder, and they slowly started to let her. She kept throwing up her fingers, and she just got more scared and shaky as she threw up her fingers. Yeah. And then right when she opened her eyes, they all just fucking swarmed out from the fucking tunnels and shit, dude. I lost my fucking mind, dude. I'm like,
bro, the fact that none of that was CG and they legitimately like built that entire set in like a deserted like post office or whatever it is, like, bro, like that's some fucking skill, like.
That's what you guys
have. The production designer and the people working on this show are fucking like, I can't even put it in words.
What were you about to say, Nico?
I was gonna ask if you guys had an oh shit moment when he threw that flare and it landed right next to the little fungus. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, fuck, here we go.
Yeah, that's where right when I saw the fucking cordyceps starting to like wiggle its little fucking head, I'm like, oh no.
Yep, I was like, they're fucked.
My oh shit
They're so
moment
fucked.
was where like the dude with the gun was like looking around or whatever, and then you just see a bunch of like the fucking like the clickers like and the infected like just start swarming the entire fucking like subway car. I was like, oh my god.
So my oh shit moment actually is like at the very end of like this whole like underground scene is like I knew just based on the trailer when Dina was pointing the gun at Ellie for this episode, like I knew I was like, bitch is gonna find out. She's gonna find out.
Yeah, you called it. You called it.
My big oh shit moment was how it happened. Like the way that like she was trying to get her through, and then right as Dina's about to be bit, she threw her fucking arm in the way to bite her. And Dina is just has a front row view of the whole fucking thing. Like the whole world stopped for a second there. And Bella Ramsey's acting of when she was getting bit, her facial movements and just the way she's like able to execute like pain, trauma is just so spot on, dude. Where I'm just like, dude, like there's like if there's any like scene that really showcases any kind of heavy emotion that she's a part of, dude, I'm biting. Like it was so good because it was just like, ah, fuck, that hurts. Like she knows she wasn't fucked. Like she's just like, dude, that fucking hurts. And you know, got her through. And you know, obviously, like they made their way to, I think it was a theater, I think that they ended up in. But that was my oh shit moment, was just how it happened. Like because I was expecting something like, oh, she saw her get bit like in passing, kind of like how it happened in the grocery store where she saw the stalker. I thought it was going to happen like that, but no, dude, they made it a pivotal moment, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah, and the way that Isabella, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, Merced. The way that she played that moment too, I thought was really well. Like you could see in her face, like she explained it later in the episode, but you could see all that stuff was just running through her mind, and then she clicked into reality, like I got to kill this fucking thing because it's on Ellie. Yeah, and I thought that was just played perfectly. I believed every second of it.
I love her casting. Her casting is I don't know her from anything else that I think.
Same.
But her casting is beautiful. Like I love her as Dina.
And the chemistry like between Bella Ramsey and Isabella is like carries through to the characters pretty well. Like they seem like they genuinely get along, similar to how her and Pedro were.
Dude, and that was another thing that kind of solidified that the show was going to be okay for her to be in a leading role, because honestly, dude, like whenever it's just her and somebody else on screen, she feels like a big character. I also love the Easter egg that they threw in for Bella Ramsey's entire outfit for this season. Do you remember? There's going to be a flashback scene, but it was in the game. But Joel is actually wearing it in the first episode. There's the entire fucking outfit is inspired by Joel's first outfit he was wearing in the first episode when Sarah died. The blue shirt, the blue jeans, and the boots. So it was all. And I also noticed that the shirt she's wearing is bigger than her, so it's his actual shirt. She's wearing fucking Joel's shirt. Yeah,
she's been in a lot of. Isabella's been in a lot of stuff, and I didn't even realize it was her until I just read it. She played the older child in Instant Family, where Mark Wahlberg and his wife, they adopt these kids out of foster care or whatever. She also played Dora the Explorer in Dora in the City of Gold. She was in Sicario, Day of the Soldado, The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature, Transformers: The Last Night.
Oh, okay.
She's been in a lot of stuff.
Okay,
I had no clue. I'd never seen her until this.
Same. I had no fucking idea. Like she's super talented, man. Like
Instant Family's a great.
Well, yeah. Now that you mentioned that, I do actually.
And she's gonna be in the new Superman movie.
She's gonna be in what?
She's gonna be in the new Superman movie coming out.
Who's she playing?
Superman.
It is funny though. She reminds me a lot of a mixture of Vanessa Hudgens, but also fucking Sasha Calle, who played Supergirl in
she plays Hot Girl.
Flash. She plays Hot Girl. She's playing Hot Girl in fucking Superman
in the new Superman movie.
Wow.
Bro, she's winning. She got through HBO through James Gunn because of Peacemaker. Okay, that's kind of fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty
cool.
That's
a fucking dub. That's a dub. Okay, congratulations to her. And it's also cool seeing Marvel's fucking Falcon. He's one of the wolves that he's the one that broke Ellie's ribs in fucking episode 2 when Joel died.
Mm.
He's Falcon in Marvel. He's Sam Wilson's protege. He ended up taking over the Falcon role when he became Captain America.
Oh, I see. When
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie became Captain America. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been following Marvel. Been getting kind of bored.
He made his debut, I believe, in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he was just in the new Captain America as Falcon officially.
Oh, okay, cool.
So like everybody's fucking eating, dude. Like there's big actors in this fucking show right now, including Catherine O'Hara, dude. Like that, it's just more unhinged, grounded Moira Rose, and it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy, dude. I've been missing Schitt's Creek, so having her back it's been a treat, man. It's been a treat. But now let's get into the theater scene where, obviously they get past the now I want to mention this. The one thing that pissed me off about Dina this entire episode, and it was a recurring thing, and I even said it to Ash multiple times. I'm like, bitch, this is what's gonna get you killed. She kept stopping and just staring at everything that was going on and then kept moving. And Ellie's like, bitch, let's go. I'm like, what are you doing? Just stopping. Like, no, you're in trouble. Just fucking go.
I mean, it's that curiosity, Have you ever been driven on the highway or whatever? You see a car accident, you kind of look over. You want to know what's going on.
I see it as I'm driving. And I'm like, oh shit, I wonder what happened. And then I keep driving because I don't want to be in one myself.
She hasn't really seen any action either. You got to keep in mind she's been living. I mean, she's seen clickers when they show up at the door and they get gunned down, but she's never.
We don't know how long I was actually living in Jackson.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
A lot of this is new experience where she's like, oh shit, like this is not.
She's never had to go out.
This is not a drill. Like these motherfuckers are here.
Yeah, and she's out of complete, uncharted territory. Literally, no pun intended to Naughty Dog. Yeah. But she's actually been in Jackson, Danny, longer than Ellie because she was creeping up on Ellie when her and
I know that, but we don't know. We don't know if she's been there since she was a kid, if she was born there. We don't know. You know what I mean?
Got you.
So just being in this environment that helping Ellie, she doesn't know anything about this.
I gotta give her
curiosity.
I gotta give her some brownie points too for being so prepared. She's got everything locked down, but that one thing pissed me off. But she's so prepared. She had the map ready. She had all the supplies of the things ready. She had Seth in on it. She's super prepared, including outlining that the whole fucking TV.
You can tell she loves Ellie, and she'll go to the end of the earth and do anything.
She also outlined that the TV station was on a hill and they had to go at night. She is super fucking prepared. But I also understand the newness of being in actual literal danger on the scope of what it was. I can definitely understand that. So that, yeah.
And you got to give her a little credit too, because that naivety, that lack of experience kind of disappeared when they were in the train scene. She was Ellie kind of freaked out. You could see it on her face when she landed on that skull for a second.
Yeah.
And Dina was the one who was like, dude, let's go. We got to move. So you can see that, she's kind of morphing into the being ready for the show, so to speak.
And where it really kicked off and it really kind of solidified that, where she's literally living in reality now and that anything is possible, was after seeing Ellie get bit. They go to the theater and she's clearly going through it in real time. Not only did I just see you get bit, you're a goner, and I have to put you down. The future that we imagined is gone. Or the future I imagined, is gone now. And Ellie has fucking no idea any of this is going on because I know I can't get fucking infected. I know I'm not going to turn. She's thinking in real time, but she never told Dina because the only people that know are Joel and Tommy. That he didn't even tell Maria. It's only Joel and Tommy that know. She never filled in Dina, and we are now in this predicament.
And I liked that realization on Bella Ramsey's face, how she portrayed the scene where she realized, oh shit, she doesn't know what I know. And she's like, this just got real.
She's like,
real quick.
Fuck. Yeah. She's like, oh, fuck.
She was carrying on like nothing. She's like, we got to board up the doors. I'm going to move this. I'm going to do that. Turns around. Oh shit.
And I love the hurtful, predicament, like it made you so hopeless as an audience because like you wish you could just be like, no, don't do it, but you're frustrated by it because you can't do anything, and it's like no, like she's good, but you can also understand like she has always had a protocol. She's got to fucking put this person down, but she's got to talk her way out of it. So like you're in this hopeless predicament, and just seeing that play out on screen was one of the most satisfying things on the planet because Bella Ramsey killed the like almost like she was flustered, like she was just literally thinking on the fly of how the fuck do I get myself out of this situation that sounds impossible. Like one of my favorite lines and it's funny because like I think my favorite line of the whole episode, and it's like it's nothing that has to do with Jeffrey Wright, which is wild because it was just so funny because it was an Ellie thing, but it was also kind of like a Bella Ramsey thing when she dropped the line, "Don't fucking shoot me!" Like she was like pointing, like, "Don't fucking shoot me!" Like just the way she sold the like that panic was incredible. I was fucking dying, bro.
Yeah,
it was so good. It was so good.
All right, now we got to talk about the end of the episode. Sad.
Yes. It
coming
got
to a close.
It
not
was,
the episode. This
yeah.
episode is what I'm sad about, not the episode
Yeah.
of The Last of Us.
Yeah. We still got a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because now we're going into like what kind of future they're gonna have. Because there was another line that really striked me during this whole, I guess you could say, confrontation of a lot of things that they've had buried that need to come to light now.
Yeah.
Was the way she was able to talk herself out of it was, listen, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to bandage my arm. You're going to go sit as far away from me as you want with that gun pointed on me. And as many times I wish this wasn't true, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be just the way I am. That fucking hit me like a chord, bro. Like it just like it shows that all of the things, because she was born into this whole fucking thing. And, you know, like she's never seen what it's like to just fucking relax. She doesn't know what it's like to be bored. She doesn't know what it's like to, you know, live a normal quote unquote life. And, you know, to be not only born into it, but the things that you see along the way, the things that you have to do, the things that you discover from the people that were supposed to protect you, lied to you and fucking hurt you the most, literally took something away from you that wasn't supposed to be theirs to take. I'm not even just talking about the, you know, like the fact that she was supposed to be possibly the savior of the whole fucking world, but he took Marlene too, who was basically somebody that raised her from the ground up, you know, and hearing her say that is just like, you know, she fucking hates herself, bro. Like she didn't ask to not only be born in a time like this, but to be burdened with the truth of the matter. She's immune, and people, no matter what, she will never have a dull moment because she will either die during this or she's going to be a fucking experiment. You know, it's like she's never going to be normal,
and that's what Joel was
out.
That's sort of why they're in the situation they're in now, is because Joel saved her from being that experiment. You know what I mean? And it ended up having to be with a lot of death and destruction or whatever. And that ultimately led to Joel passing away, which ultimately led to Ellie and Dina being in Seattle. So it's full circle, man.
What I liked a lot about it, though, is the way that she talked her way out of it, and the way that she was able to accomplish it was a very not Joel way to go. She was very honest. Like she was honest. She cut it immediately almost. Like, yeah, she didn't tell her for years, but she finally told her. And she told her not only to save her life, but to make sure that she doesn't leave Dina's. Like it's a point of reassurance. And then, you know, she wakes up later on completely the same from the water. You know, at first I didn't even think it was Dina behind the flashlight because, you know, with most films and, you know, shows, if you can't see their face, there could be something very different or very wrong happening. But I like how it was drawn out because it added a layer of, like, you know, tension and suspense. But then, you know, immediately after, you know, she proved that, you know, she's fine, she's not going to turn, she would have turned by now. We got Dina's, you know, official thing, like, I'm pregnant. You know, I was not expecting what it led to.
That was
I
kind of
was.
weird. It's like,
I wasn't.
I was.
like, you're
I knew.
pregnant, so that makes you want to fuck. Like, it just, I don't know. Just
I was not expecting that. How I honestly, I'm curious as to like what got you there.
What made me expect it?
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, again, I've never played the game, but I know that Ellie is gay, and I knew that Dina and Ellie have a thing.
Yeah.
And I knew that after the episode that we got in season 1 with Frank and Bill, that they would probably explore this a bit more.
Or for sure.
Than expecting. And, you could see the chemistry between them building romantically throughout the entire episode, right? Like even just from the tank bit where she called her out on the hatch thing, and they had that cute little like flirty make fun of moment that everybody's had before.
Oh no, for sure.
So I knew it was coming.
I didn't expect when. Like I didn't expect it to happen that moment after. Like I knew that it was gonna happen based on from what I've seen from the game, and
I thought it was going to happen in
spoil
the
it.
tent.
I didn't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it rather. But there's a scene where it's about to happen, but Jesse gets involved. Not like involved in the act, but like he like walks in, kind of
intrudes.
Yeah, like he's like in a warehouse and he's like coming inside, and they're like, oh wait, like and like I thought it was gonna be like something like that where they were gonna like wait for that to happen and then have it happen later on after that. I wasn't expecting immediately after telling her, "Oh, I'm pregnant," and then bam. Like I wasn't expecting that moment, but I was just like, "Whoa!"
I think it was like she had her life flash before her eyes, and she kind of doesn't want to leave things on the table, and that's why it just kind of shit. Well, you almost died. I'm pregnant, and I've been hiding the fact that I am gay inside for a very long time, thanks to what she shared about her mom. And it's like, so we're gonna do it. Like,
I don't think she's gay. I think she's bi.
It felt
because
pretty
she
natural for
said
me.
that she likes boys and girls.
No. She actually shut that down with Jesse. When she was talking about, she was like, "I like Jesse. I think he's a great guy, but he wasn't the one." And I think that was more intended of he's clearly like not what I'm into. Like Jesse
wasn't
perfect.
the one, but he
but like
fuck me and get me
he
pregnant.
was perfect. No, he was perfect as a partner. He was perfect as a human being and a person, but
just not for her.
Just literally not for her. She could never love him in that way because that's not what she was looking for. And I think that's why she was like, "Yeah, I've been gay this whole fucking time." But among them being in a obviously a fun entanglement, things happen in this universe. They don't have that kind of protection like we did back in the day. They don't have birth control like that, So it's like that there was always that risk there, and it happened, And so I wouldn't say she's
too.
bi.
Not saying she can't be bi, but when I'm using the word gay, like I'm bisexual, but I just say gay because it's just like a blanket term. Like it's like saying queer. I'm part of the queer community. It's like, well, what are you? Well,
it's like a label.
I'm in that community. I'm in the blanket. That's all I meant by that.
Yeah,
not saying she can't be bi. I mean, she might be. I don't know.
It seemed more intended,
Yeah, it seemed a little more intentional.
Earlier on in the episode, something that we didn't really, talk about or whatever. I think it was shortly after they actually arrived or whatever, and they, before they saw like all the dead bodies or whatever, you could see all like the rainbow and pride stuff, and Ellie didn't know what the hell any of that stuff was. Like, what was this Rainbow
hilarious.
City?
Yeah.
She's like, maybe they're fucking. I forgot. It started with an A. She was like, maybe not arsonists, but they were like some like optimists. She said, "Yeah, like maybe they're optimists." So I thought it was fucking hilarious, bro.
It didn't actually dawn on me until just now that she had no idea what any of that shit meant.
Yeah.
That's like a good pickup, Ben. I had no idea. I didn't.
Yeah, she's like, maybe they were optimists. I was fucking dying, bro.
That was so good. That did not even cross my mind.
Yeah, like she had no fucking clue what any of that meant. Like it was just fucking hilarious, like how uneducated they are, and it's not even their fault, And it's so funny because like if you knew, like you were a part of that community, And it was like a fun little, extension, and I thought it was really brilliant,
Can't wait to see conservative Twitter lose their mind over that scene though.
Absolutely, dude. They already had a field day with the Bill and fucking Frank episode.
I'm glad. That's still one of the best episodes of television.
That is probably my favorite episode still. Like, it is still my favorite episode of all time because
I still rewatch it.
Dude, same. Like, I still emotionally connect to that episode so much. And, like, it just, having fucking a little, even like a Ron Swanson, like little throw in there with the little hee at the end of the note was kind of fucking funny. You know, like it just, that is still one of my favorite episodes, but they're obviously gonna have a
Agreed.
field day with it. You can't help with it. You can't help the general public. You know, the court of public opinion is gonna be, you know, ruthless regardless. But
Court of public opinion's alive and well.
oh yeah, dude. You know, like I also wasn't expecting. I mean, it's fucking HBO, and I've seen what they've done with Game of Thrones, but I was not expecting to see the extent of the visual of that scene that we got. I was just like, whoa, like they really actually fucking went there. Wow.
I kind of
proud of them.
knew we were gonna get something or whatever because I mean, literally
We're gonna
during the
get more.
interrogation scene, you could see fucking straight up dick and balls, bro. So.
Dude, I was actually kind of shook by that too. I'm like, oh,
me too.
shit.
I did not expect that.
Like, oh my God,
I was like, oh shit, all right.
I was like, oh shit, they're showing Ween in this, dude.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
There is a nude man on my TV screen.
Nice.
Had to kick my cat out, dude. I didn't want them seeing it.
You're like, yo, you can't be here for this.
You're too young. Too young. My cat's only 2 and 4.
But like at the end of the episode genuinely felt really hopeful, you know. Like it was nice to kind of see them be like, oh you know, Ellie realizing like, oh shit, I'm gonna be a dad, like I'm gonna, you know. I was kind of like miffed though in a way when she was like, we like, yeah, we're gonna be parents, and then she's like, and I guess so is Jesse. I'm like, you guess? What the fuck you mean that's his kid? What do you mean? Like, you guess? What the fuck? But other than that, I'm like, it's kind of cool getting this, like, you know, almost nicer ending, you know, in a way, rather than like the heaviness that we've left off of, you know, the last few episodes where it's been rough. The pacing has been immaculate because the first episode felt really like, obviously world building episodes for seasons are the slowest. There's a lot, you know, jam packed in there. It's kind of hard to dissect it and talk about it and like really kind of outline bullet points because we're kind of all over the fucking place. You know, we're introducing new shit. But with episode 2, 3, and particularly 4, the pacing has felt so great. Like I feel like we have genuine structure in the episodes. Like I can genuinely formulate everything that is happening in the episodes now. Like I'm able to like dissect important points of like, you know, the pace on like where we want to cover things, go back, but also reroute. Like the pacing is incredible, and I love where we're going because apparently we're finally getting what are called the spores, which is like in the air and everything. And apparently there's somebody called the Rat King that's coming and is like a big bad of the game, and that makes me very intrigued because apparently the footage for episode 5 that's coming out, that's entitled Wolves, and it's going to be like the real-time interaction kind of setting up the Seraphite versus Wolves war, which I guess is like a huge arc in the game. I don't know much about it, but it sounds like really bad shit's about to happen and hit the fan, which I'm obviously excited for because I liked higher fast-paced episodes as well with like, you know, a bunch of the action, the makeup department for the clickers, bloaters, seeing the new types of infected that's roaming around. I'm genuinely super interested to see what it does to people that are obviously not immune, to see what happens when they step into that air, because Ellie can just walk around it because she's technically infected. She's a carrier. So like seeing her walk around without a mask and just breathing and she's fine, she's not morphing into anything, seeing that stand apart from everybody else who has to go in with like, you know, PPE is gonna be a really cool factor into how we visually drive the story forward. And I'm a set guy too, and I'm a visual guy, and I like scenery, but I'm curious as to how much CGI is the set and how much is practical, because there's gonna be so much to even dissect there alone. And that's what makes this show stand out so much compared to every other show, because a lot of it is built.
Yeah. I'm impressed that they're even doing the spores. I know there was some people, myself included, that were kind of upset that they were absent from season 1, because in the first game, it was one of the first things that you learned about was the spores, because you had to wear a gas mask as Joel. And they just omitted that. And I kind of expected them to just fully omit it just because of how difficult it would be to record quality audio with your actors wearing a gas mask. So I'm kind of glad to see it coming. Yeah. I'm excited to see how they handle it and how they do it.
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, it's part of the first game. Yeah, it's what you like. I might be remembering this wrong, so somebody in the comments correct me. But if I recall correctly, the first time you have to wear a gas mask is when you are still with oh geez, what is Joel's girlfriend's name there? Not really girlfriend, but you know what I mean.
Tess.
Tess, yes. When you're with Tess, there's a scene where you guys have to go underground to meet up with Marlene the first time. And
Okay.
in that part, you have to put a gas mask on because there might be spores in the area.
Is that where they first? Is that in like? Is that scene like sort of like close to where they first discovered Ellie? Like,
if I'm not mistaken, it's where
Marlene was
they're
telling
heading
him
to meet Ellie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where she's like,
Marlene
"Oh, I
was
need you guys to
telling
do me a
Joel that
favor," and
he needs to take Ellie and
So
get her
that's
to...
why
think
they
so,
ended
yeah.
up doing it in like the building facility instead in the beginning, where he like disarmed Ellie and like had his foot on her knife and shit, and like realized that was the job, and like he was originally gonna back out of it. Really? It was
Yeah.
actually in like a spore infested tunnel. I did not
Yeah.
know that.
So I didn't think they were ever going to do it just because of that. Like, to me, it makes sense, you know, like, oh yeah, of course you can't record your actors with face masks on, like,
Yeah.
just leave that shit out. And I know there was lots of other fans who felt, you know, slighted that they left that out of the first season, but I'm happy to see it.
Sometimes you gotta, like, you know, video games and TV are totally different, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta like
sure.
rework some stuff, whatever, to make it make sense.
I like that it's not the case with this show though. Like, I like that they're using it for a broader purpose and storyline and really drawing out the world and like the seasons, especially knowing that not only is season 3 already greenlit, excuse me, it's ending with season 4. And I don't know, like I've actually said this with every episode, and I actually kind of want your opinion, Nico. When it comes to the like kind of the bracket of how each season is based, my theory is season 1 was the introduction season, which was 100% Joel and Ellie's story.
Yeah.
Season 2 is 100% the blueprint of Ellie's revenge and his basically her revenge tour. And you know, having her and Abby's story kind of being intertwined with Dina and everything. Season 3, I have a feeling, is going to be a very Abby led. Like, I think it's going to mostly cover like Abby's story of like, okay, what happened after she killed Joel? You know, what was she do up to, kind of like what's she doing in real time, and then obviously little specks of Ellie and like, you know, the Rat King and everything that's happening in season 3 and the spores. And then season 4, the final season, is like Ellie and Abby's story specifically, and her like going to hunt everybody down that had to do with Joel, and kind of like the comeuppance of everything that happened in those events.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really thought too much about what happens next. I mean, I would love if we had a season 3 where we had some flashbacks of what led Abby to where she's at, you know, like her discovering her pops and all the people that were killed in the medical facility. Her trying to convince her little posse to go out there, all the shit that she encounters on the way to Joel. Because a lot of that in season 2, you know, we just kind of had to infer because it happened so quickly.
Yes.
So I would love to see something like that. In between the aftermath, because like I said, I have not played the game, but I do loosely know what happens between Abby and Ellie.
Okay.
And I know the outcome that I wanted for Abby does not happen. So there's that.
Oh, what is your outcome for Abby? I'm curious. Like, what was your preferred outcome?
Oh, I wanted Ellie to kill her.
Oh,
yeah, I wanted to kill her. I did. I wanted her to get that revenge, and like, even though I know it wouldn't have fulfilled Ellie because she would have probably regretted it because she has a good heart down below everything else. I just wanted her to get that revenge for Joel. You know, I wanted it, and like I said, I've seen the clips, and I fucking hated that she just let her. Like,
I mean, just because it didn't happen in the game doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the show. I mean, if it's right for the story that they're telling, you know what I mean? Because they've reworked a lot of things from the games, I feel like. And even like the stuff that you guys showed me.
I feel like with that particular thing, that's something that's probably not going to change just because they would have to retcon stuff in the game. And Naughty Dog has already said that they're trying to make a Last of Us Part 3 video game. Yeah. That'll be based on season 3. And if they kill Abby, it kind of messes up the canon of the video game a little bit. They'd have to retcon some stuff. So I think I do agree with you. I think they've taken some creative liberties, and I love that. I don't think this is one of those things, though.
Yeah,
even though I would be so happy if they just.
I've said in previous episodes, like I love, like I'm actually part of like, you know, the percentage of people that love you know, when people take some kind of creative liberties, because it's like if I wanted to see exactly what I already saw, I'd just play the fucking game again. Like if I just wanted
Exactly.
to see the exact thing, like I could just play the fucking game. So when you genuinely tweak a couple things, change a couple certain small little details of outcomes, and even if you add certain things to just kind of help join and conjunct the stories a lot better cohesively than they already are and add to that, I'm fucking for it, man, because it's
I'm
something
with
I
it.
haven't
Yeah.
seen. It could
Just
be
like
super exciting.
just like what I don't know if you saw our last episode from last week or whatever, but we were like, I showed Ben like, the highlights of what was gonna be, last night's
Yeah.
episode. And, you know, I was just heavily speculating. I was like, what? Because the scene where Dina like is pointing the gun at Ellie, and I was like, what if Dina ends up like, giving herself to the people that they're looking for in order to save her own life and turning on Ellie, like just wild speculation. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know that didn't
Yeah.
happen. But the fact that we can go into this show and really anything can happen, and it's not like a shot for shot remake of the video game, I think it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I like
like
that it's
what they have
not
kept.
that predictable.
Yeah, I like what they've kept. Like I love like, you know, the certain moments, like even the set, dude. Like for example, you know, the fucking New Year's party, seeing like the string lights, seeing the outline of like the barn and seeing just how almost picture perfect it was with the game is one of the most exciting feelings you could get. And I can only imagine, you know, the big population of people that have played the games that are seeing this kind of play out. You know, Joel's death was probably not only harder for them to see again, but seeing it happen in real life, and to Pedro Pascal of all people, you know, like it
To
is
Danny.
such it is such a driving show, man. And the fact that, like, you know, it's so big and it's, you know, big enough to be able to discuss on a platform and really kind of not only talk about the fandom of it, but, you know, discuss like what we want out of it as fans is, you know, it's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I will
And
say if we do get a Last of Us 3 video game, I'm slowly working on game number 1. I'm sort of stuck at the moment. I hope we have some kind of cameo with Bella Ramsey and Joe and Pedro Pascal, like doing like a voice of like some kind of character, whatever. Just like sort of like as a nod to the television show. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd
yeah,
be
I
sick.
agree. That would be pretty cool.
All right,
Um,
guys. What's up?
I was just gonna say earlier you mentioned that scene with Dina and Ellie kind of ending in a bit of optimism.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on the kind of double optimism that we got at the very end of the episode, because now they know where Abby is. You know, they got
Yeah.
that little bit of calm on the radio, like as she said, Nora.
Mhm.
And the cliffhangers have been killing me.
Yeah.
I love them, but I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
And
Because
I'm
it
excited
reminds
to
you of a whole
see.
week.
The way
Yeah,
I see it, like I'm glad these episodes are like are weekly or whatever, because like if they would have thrown the entire first season on like streaming service and we could have watched it in one night,
yeah,
I would have been like, bro, like now we gotta wait fucking like 2 years to see what else happens. Like I kind of like the fact that it's week by week. That way we
I
can
wouldn't have.
sort of like sit and digest each episode.
Yeah.
Just like in the pre-show, Ben, when I had to take that break after Brock died in
Yeah.
Ragnarok. After, if they released the whole season, I would have taken a couple weeks after episode
Yeah.
2 just to soak that in, because that shit was tough.
Yeah,
Tough.
dude. That was one of that added up in like I think Glenn's death from Walking Dead still hits me more just because of like the level of like just brutality it was and like who he was as a character for the show. Like he was like the just the fucking if this was a typical black and white good and evil story, Glenn would have been the main character. And just seeing him go out that way and still seeing his bashed in brain and his hands still twitching, you know, like that still hits me more. But Joel's death emotionally is neck and neck with that same feeling, and I cried just as much because again, Pedro Pascal and the fact that Joel's gone. You know, like it's like other than the little flashbacks we're gonna see, he's gone. He's not a regular anymore. Like we're not gonna be graced by his presence on the screen. You know, like now we're shifting focus to other people, and that's kind of fucking sad.
I
Yeah,
kind of wish they
totally.
would have waited until the end of season 2, man.
I thought they would go till episode 3. I did not expect him to die in episode 2. I
Yeah.
thought we'd get 3 with him. But
Do you
No.
feel like they rushed it a little bit? Like,
No.
no,
man,
because it happens early on in the game, so I'm not mad at it. I would have,
I
since
feel like they
they've
could have
taken
dragged it on a little
changes.
bit.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit more of the relationship between Ellie and Joel fleshed out before he died, but I don't feel like they did it wrong.
No, not at all. If anything, I like the change of how they killed him, and I like the change of pace, and I like that they drew it out more emotionally because it really gave like a fever to set into, and
Yeah.
it gave you something to have to recover from.
I think they did it well. I just, as a Pedro Pascal fan, I wanted to see him in at least 3 episodes before,
Yeah,
they
he was
took him
only on
out.
set for like 2 weeks.
Now we gotta figure out like because it doesn't seem like Ellie knows about what happened and why Joel ended up
She
killing.
doesn't.
She just pretty much seems like thinks it's like a senseless killing or whatever. So
Well,
now
she
we
has
gotta
some suspicions, but nothing
now
to
we gotta
confirm
figure
it.
out how does she find out? Because I do feel like at some point she does figure it out. I'm just how.
Yeah,
That's my only thing.
I
and
don't.
only-
Well, I guess I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't played the game, but
Oh no, we're spoiler talk. We're spoiler talk.
okay. You've probably seen more of the gameplay than me, but as I recall, Abby does not tell her why she killed Joel ever in the game. Maybe she'll get that clarification in the show, but I don't think in their confrontation later that she ever says, "Well, I killed Joel because XYZ," and that confirms what Ellie thought. I don't think that happens.
Just drop my shit.
No
Edit
worries.
this part out. I just dropped my fucking coaster.
Edit.
My fucking the sweat from the fucking coffee just stuck to the wooden coaster and it just dropped. But yeah, I hope in a way that that's like one of like the slight deviations that we do get is like some kind of clarification. Because I can see that like being more of a reason as to why Ellie doesn't kill Abby in the end. Because not only what is she thinking about Joel and handling things differently in a more positive light, but maybe it's like it finally clicks as she's about to kill her. Like, I would have done the same fucking thing. Like maybe like we're not so fucking different, after all, and really like in this kind of to kind of end it, like the like it's another story of like who you are in the middle of this different kind of world that's never going to go back to the way it was, and like how you decide to live in that and who you are in it. It
But
all
then you
comes down to
gotta-
moral ambiguity.
But then you got to realize that, yes, what Joel did was fucked up, but also he was doing it to save Ellie. He didn't do it just because, I'm going to kill these people today because I feel like it.
But it wasn't his choice, and
I think
Ellie would have.
if Ellie knew she was going to die at the hands of those doctors to get a cure to everybody, I think knowing what we know about her character, she would have did it.
Yeah,
and I
100%.
think that autonomy, like if she knew what Joel did, I think that would be like the catalyst for why she forgives Abby.
Yeah,
instead of killing that bitch, she should have just killed that bitch.
yeah.
Fucking
All right, guys.
bitch.
Well, is there
Yep.
anything else you guys want to cover on the end of the episode?
Nah, man, this was, I think, our longest episode. Nico, it was good having you.
Dude, it's been
happy to
a
be here.
fucking pleasure. It has been a pleasure, and this has probably been one of like not only the more like I feel like structured and very flowy episodes, but this one has been one of like the most fun ones like to date of both seasons that we've been covering so far.
Oh, bitch.
Oh, bitch. All right, guys. Well, it's been a solid episode for season 2, episode 4 of The Last of Us. You guys can follow us all on our socials down in the links below in the description. I'll be sure to post Nico's, guys. Is there anything you guys want to kind of like plug away at before we end up?
Just me and Taylor reviving the Impractical Nonsense podcast with Adrian.
Oh, fuck yeah.
We got to work on the format a little bit, but be on the lookout for that. Should be fun. We did a spelling bee this past week, and I whooped Adrian's ass. So
I'm kind of excited. When does that drop?
It drops this Sunday.
This Sunday? Ooh,
Yeah, first
and
episode drops this Sunday.
Is it going to be on like the Impractical Nonsense channel, or is it going on Taylor's?
I think it'll be on both.
All right, bet.
But eventually it'll just be on. I think it'll be on. I mean, Taylor's taking care of all the logistics. I'm just kind of showing up and being an ugly face,
That's kind of how it
Poor
is here,
Nice.
man. Ben's the
Same.
one that rounds up all the guests for the episode. I'm just like, who's on tomorrow night? You know, and
Yeah.
then he tells me, and then I'm like, all right, I'll see you then. Send me the fucking link after the episode. I'm just the fat dude that shows up.
Yeah. So I can promise two things. I will be funny and I will be consistent. Outside of that, I can't offer you much.
Hey, hell, fuck it, dude. It's been, like I said, it's been a really fucking solid episode. It's been a great fucking talk. Danny, is there anything that you'd like to plug away? Anything exciting going on?
Obviously, I do think this is gonna go up today, Monday.
Yep.
I'll be live tonight at 7:00 Eastern time on my channel, Danny Huckins PW from Monday Night Raw. So feel free if you guys are pro wrestling fans or WWE fans or whatever, you want to have a good conversation, come on over, hang out with me, and it's gonna be a fun time.
Hell yeah.
That's what PW stands for. Pro
Yeah,
wrestling.
Pro wrestling.
See, I was wondering that, and I just
See,
keep
I'm
forgetting
fucking
that.
creative.
All right, before we do
Really?
end this episode, I do just want to plug away the store that you guys likely see at the bottom of this episode right here on Bonfire. You guys can support it. It's been a wild reception, so thank you to everybody who has bought something, and there's a lot of things selling out. It's been a really, really cool thing. It's verified on the store page as well now, and it's like connected to the YouTube jazz, so you'll find it in the store tab, and you'll also find it under every single video on this channel as it comes out. So guys, it's been a pleasure, and take care of yourselves. Be safe, stay safe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.
Shoots.